It was always this battle with the record. You know, the record's bigger than me, and that's fine, but I'm not only that record.
Right.
You know, I'm more than just this record. I love that you love it, but like, yo, I got more here.
Like
There's a lot more in, you know, like I have so much more to give. But
so did you have like a love-hate relationship with?
Yeah, definitely.
Never Leave You?
Definitely. Yeah. I was doing a video, and this girl, like, she was on the set, like, you know, one of the extras on the set, and she came up to me and she was like, oh my God, I love your song. I remember going over and talking, like, once we're in the diner eating, and there's somebody who's really, he's a friend of a friend. I'm like I said something, it kind of was negative, like, cause I don't know, like I said, sometimes I don't believe it. I feel like, are you trying to, it was a weird thing, you know, that was going on with me. So he kind of checked me, and he was like, and I was like, all right, but we're here doing this record, right? And I don't want to, it's something. And he was like, what do you mean? She really means that, right? She loves the record. Like, do you know what people feel? Like, you need to fucking respect that record. Yeah. You need to, and I was like, oh, damn. Okay, like, you know? Yeah, and then when he said, you need to, like, you did that, and it don't matter how long ago you did it. It doesn't matter, you know, people still feel it. You know, people still live with it, and they take that with them. So you should be happy about that.
Yeah.
Oh my gracious.
Even back in high school, Jennifer inspired more than
Cambié la imagen por vender discos.
Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga.
This episode is brought to you by Lumidee.
Lumidee. At Lumidee.
I Lumidee loves.
At Lumidee.
How crazy is that?
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm actually great. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I'm actually great. Like, feel good energy here. You know, the whole welcoming was great. So I'm feeling good.
You got me out to Florida.
I did.
I'm a New York girl.
Girl, so am I. I got myself out there. I can't believe I'm here. Yes.
What brought you to Florida?
Yeah. Oh man. Children.
Yeah.
You know, kids wanting to just, you know, give them a life that's more focused on them. Yeah. You know, New York is rough. Like, I mean, we New York girls, we love it, but you don't want your kids to grow up the same way. Yeah. You know.
Do you feel like you had like a rough upbringing?
Yeah, there was moments, definitely, that weren't so great, you know. Though I look back at them, I think it's what kind of made me like a very resilient person. But yeah, you know, like sometimes I hate how people, you know, they remember their upbringing, everything's bad. Like, there's good moments in there somehow, you know, like, but yeah, it wasn't always great. No. You know, no.
Bring me back to the sala. What were the sala vibes for you?
Oh my God.
What was the music your family was listening to? What were you wearing? Who was little Lumidee?
Very very animated, always asking people questions. Yeah.
What were you asking them?
Just random things, like my grandmother, like, who is your favorite child? Like, did you really do, like, who was your boyfriend before grandpa? Like, who was, you know, like, just wanting to know people's lives before, like, you met them, almost, you know? Right. Like, and just like putting on a show, but not like a performance, like, like getting my cousins together when they would come over, and then it's like, I'm Oprah Winfrey, and what you doing? I'll create cards, and like silly things, and lining them up, and doing a talk show, like things like that, you know. And I forgot I was that way until like they reminded me, you know. Like my cousins was like, there was a moment where it wasn't so great, like I had gotten sick, and then one of my cousins was like, what happened to you? You used to be fun. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you don't remember this, and you don't remember this. And I was like, oh wow. Like, sometimes you grow up and things happen and you forget, like I said, you forget the good days. You forget, because some, you know, some
it starts getting jaded, and it's like,
so yeah, sometimes we just need those reminders. But yeah, the sala was family. The sala was my grandmother sitting in there watching her novelas, you know, all day, every day. Then her cleaning on the weekends, things like Eddie Santiago playing, you know, just, yeah, and cooking in the kitchen, multiple. And my grandmother was, I mean, I don't know how other households were, but I grew up with my grandmother after, you know, we could get into that, but I grew up with my grandparents, you know, and
this was in Harlem.
And yes, in Spanish Harlem.
Okay, what part of Harlem?
Spanish Harlem, 119th Street. Yes, 119th Street, 2nd and 3rd Avenue. I mean, I'm saying out it's like, yeah, Spanish Harlem. So, and she would be making pork chops. There'll be fried chicken, pork chops, and steak. And it's like options. Like, so it was like we were always eating good at my grandmother's house, you know? So just that's what I remember, just her in the kitchen cooking, and then her cleaning the rice, taking out the little black parts of the rice, you know, like her sitting there cleaning the rice. So that's my memory of the sala, you know.
You know what's so crazy? I was speaking to my boyfriend, and we were, you know, in my sala, and I had sancocho, and I put rice, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Why are you putting rice in your soup?" And I'm like, "Yo, that's how we eat our soup."
Exactly.
Like, there's no other way to eat.
Throw the rice and aguacate in there. What are you talking about? It's like,
and I remember too, like, we would eat, I don't know if you had this, but we had spaghettis with rice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I remember just going to the beach and packing my spaghettis with rice.
What was it? Spaghettis with the white rice on the side? Okay, yes.
Is that weird?
Yes. No, it's not weird. It's not weird.
Okay.
It's not weird.
Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely, yeah, it's like a culture thing, because I know people have found it weird.
Yeah.
But
Well, now that I'm older, I'm like, that's like a lot of carbs. Like,
yeah,
that's not the best thing for us.
No, it's the spaghettis, right? And then and the string beans on the side too, straight out the can.
Yes, yes.
Like,
and I would eat the bottom, right, of the rice.
Yeah. The pegao, of course. Pegao, I'm not a fan of pegao so much, but I mean, it was there.
No.
But I'm not a fan of the.
No.
I'm not a fan of the pegao so much.
Okay.
I'm fine if it's mixed in.
Okay.
But some people just, they crunching it down.
Yeah.
Like the bottom. Like, so that's you. Okay.
That's me.
But I'm not judging. I'm not judging.
No, that was totally me. And what? So growing up in Harlem, you grew up with your grandma. What are some of the memories you have with her?
Oh, my grandmother, I mean, she definitely was, she didn't talk a lot, you know. My grandparents, period, didn't talk a lot, you know. But she kind of just let me be, you know. Like, she wasn't like telling me who to be, how to be, anything. It's just like, oh, this is who you are, okay. You know, I had times where I was getting in trouble in school, and I left back in the 5th grade, right? And I remember being so scared. I'm like, you know, and I'm like, oh, it's a wrap. Like, I got left back. So I give her my report card. She's outside of the park. Literally, I lived across the street from my school, like right across the street. So she's out there with all her friends after school and everything. So I give her my report card, and I'm like, you know, like, she looks at it and everything, and she's like, okay. Left it. Said nothing. It almost made me more scared that she didn't react. Then I was like, and she kind of just let it be. And then it was like she was like very few words, but then at the same time, her kind of not speaking about it just made me feel like, damn, she's really disappointed. She can't even scream at me. She's not even, you know. So I felt like she let me find my way. She definitely showed me morals, though, how to be, you know, like, it was very important for me not to be, it's weird, like, not to be out there and be loose, you know, like, it was just so important, like, because I didn't want her to think that, or I didn't want, it was just like, I kind of seen my grandmother just with my grandfather forever, right? Even though their relationship wasn't the best, but they were together, right? And it's like the stick, you know, you stick with your family no matter what. So with me, it was like, I I would have boyfriends and I wouldn't even kiss them, and they'll be like, "This is boring." This is boring, like, you know. So I was like a late bloomer, you know, because I was just like, I gotta wait for the one, right? You know. So then I'm with him, like my grandmother and my grandfather. So I was always kind of like, I feel like that's what she showed me, family. Their family sticks together, you know. Yeah. And
would you say that was like your first representation of love that you have seen in your family?
I could, yeah. When I really think about it, because you know, I think being Latina, I could only speak from being Latina, right? So it could be this way with others, right, too, but other cultures and stuff. But I feel like we're just taught to like stay, you know, and no matter what. So that's kind of what I seen. Like I didn't see it wasn't I know my grandmother loved me, you know, but I didn't see the love with my grandparents. You know, it wasn't a loving household, but you know, the food is on the table, you know. Grandpa takes his plate of food, goes, and he's watching the game in the room, or he's watching, you know. It wasn't like
you didn't see that affection.
No. Okay. It wasn't like loving or affectionate, or, you know, but definitely we telling grandma bendición, you know, and good night, and giving her a kiss good night. Like, so these things she installed in us, but I can't remember them hugging and being affectionate. And so I was like, okay, I mean, I guess it's cool to be that way.
Like, you thought it was normal at that time, like, to see that.
Yeah. So and I realized not too long ago that it's kind of how I based my life, and I think I did the same thing.
Were you that person, like, in relationships where you were just like...
I think I did become that. I did. But I tried to, once I realized this, you know, I was like, I don't want that. You know, I don't want to be that way. But it's hard to break that chain. Yeah. And cycle. It's like this thing. So I realized I was like, I always thought out the box with everything but that, you know, because it's like, oh, I'm going to be an artist, right? And everybody's like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? I'm like, oh, yeah, I could look like that. I could put on makeup and look like that, or I'm going to be like Madonna, or I'm going to, you know, like all of these things. And like my friends thought I was crazy. Everybody was like, oh, whatever. Okay, Lumi, whatever. Yeah. But I'm like, it's going to happen, you know? So
But at what age were you when you felt like that belief, like, no, this is going to happen for me?
I wanted, I mean, to be honest, all right, so I'm going to take it back a little, right? Like, so how I wound up with my grandparents, right? My parents, they were drug addicts, you know? It was the 80s. I'm an 80s baby, you know? So a lot of families got broken up that way, you know? So seeing that, like, you know, I spent a lot of time in like the room or alone in the house with my sister Stacy, who was, you know, only 3 years, you know, older than me. So we're like kids. Like, I'm in kindergarten. She's like, what? I don't know, second, third grade. So we're in the house alone, and I would just watch videos, you know,
like
and
music videos.
Music videos. Okay. And my first memory is Madonna. Right, it's seeing Madonna. Yeah, it's seeing Madonna.
I love Madonna.
Yes, it was seeing Madonna, and I was just looking at her, and I was like, oh my God, she's perfect. And then, and in my mind, I'm like, I want to like be her, but then at the same time, there was something that I wanted. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm adopted. Maybe Madonna's my mom. But these are kids' thoughts, you know, like a kid. And I remember always in my mind saying, you know, I really don't belong here. This is not my life, you know.
My mom is on TV.
Exactly. So I'm like, you know, Madonna could be my mom. Why not? Like, so I remember thinking this way, like, you know, my imagination was crazy from young. So I then, you know, that thing went away. Like, okay, girl, Madonna's not your mom. This is, you know, but you can be her and get out. You know, Madonna's not going to come out and be your mom and save you from this. So, but you could say, so it was kind of like, all right, how do I save myself from this life? You know? So I think it was really that early on. Like I was thinking these thoughts. I could remember as far as like kindergarten, first grade. I didn't know how. I didn't know that I had any talent. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I was like, I was building that up in my mind from that young, you know?
Well, I was going to ask you, when was the first time you noticed the power in your voice? Like you actually like knew that in you.
Well, I was always like singing and stuff, and but not like singing like a singer, you know, because I was rapping too. Like I was a tomboy growing up, you know. So I definitely was more to the tough side, and I was rapping a lot. But you know, who didn't love to sing? And ultimately, I want to be Madonna, right? It's like, I'm like, I sang for it was my sister's birthday, and I just sang her happy birthday, all like thinking I was this singer, right? And I remember like her boyfriend at the time was like, oh, you know, you kind of could sing, like you sound good, like. And I was like, yeah. So I that's all I needed was a little bit of encouragement. I'm taking that, I'm running with it, you know. And nobody else was like trying to do this around me, right? Like I would try to create groups with my sisters or my friends, and I'll be like, I'll write y'all some lyrics and create a rap group, but nobody wanted to do it. It's not like today. Today I feel like everybody is like, I'm completely capable to be an artist, and I believe that, right? But nobody around me was with it. So I was just like, okay, so I guess I'm the talented one. I'm the one that's gonna do this.
But then
you know,
how do you then go into the business, right? If no one, you see no representation of this, your mom and your dad are doing their own thing, your grandparents, you lived with them. At what point do you now make this a career?
How does this happen?
How does it
within
happen?
time? Okay, so like I started like rapping in junior high school. Like I started like writing rhymes. Well, I was writing rhymes earlier than that, but in junior high was like, okay, you know, the lunch table, we banging on the tables, and you know, that's when I had friends that would like rap, you know, and the guys would rap, and then I wanted to like outdo the guys because I was this tomboy.
Were you
you know? Oh yeah. Like I mean, before we get into the thing, I had a boyfriend. Like I literally wrote, I think, my first really good record, dissing this guy I was going out with, right? Because he had a rap group.
You had a diss track?
Yeah, I had a diss track, and I recorded it on a Panasonic radio with the tape. You know, when you could press record and record your vocals. I did that, right? And I'm like, why was I dissing him? Like I liked him, but it was like, oh, you got a rap group? Oh, okay, I'm gonna be better than you. So that was the first time. And then when I did the record, I created a hook, I did everything, and I was like, oh. So it was like,
you went in.
I did it, you know. I never played it for him though. That was like wrong. Like, so, but I played it for my friends, and everybody was laughing and stuff. So it was cool. But from that, you know, from starting to find the words, you know, from writing is where I realized I had talent. It was the writing first, you know, because I never had this like big voice that's gonna shock people, but it's like, oh, but it was melodic, and I had these words, and I'm saying things that's like, oh, you wrote that? So that's kind of where I knew that was my strength, you know.
Did you have like journals growing up?
Oh, I got, I have boxes. I still have,
Do you ever go
like
back?
from when I was 17, from 16, yes. I like have books. I have boxes like in the closet and storage, like, so I'm a book girl. I still write in books. I don't do the,
I'm like that too.
I can't do that. Everybody's like, girl, what are you wasting? I'm just like, I need paper.
No,
I need a pen. I need to,
way.
you know, I need to see it.
I
you
feel
know?
like I can't manifest it unless it's like pen to paper.
Oh yeah. Who's manifesting? Typing on the. This is not. This is not spiritual. You know? This is not.
No,
so that was like, So that was like my knowing that I had something, and from recording that way, I did something else like that, right? And in my mind, I did manifest this, right? Because I remember hearing the Harry Potter story, right? And how he was just in the movie theater, and this guy was like, or whoever found him, they found him this way, and then he became Harry Potter, right? So I was like, oh, that's how it's gonna happen for me. I don't gotta look for it. They're gonna just, it's gonna stumble. It's gonna just happen. And you know, like I said, I just believed whatever popped in my brain. I was like, I was relentless, like, So I did this little tape like I was doing, and I had played it for like some people on my block, you know. So this one guy named Richie, who was like, shout out to Richie if he ever sees this, you know, because I'm gonna call him a jerk right now, but he was a cool jerk. You know, he was like cold, like he will bust jokes on you. He will. So when I played it for him, he played it in his car. He was impressed. So he was like, "Oh, this is good." So I'm like, if he likes it, this is good, right? Because if anything, I'm ready for him to just start going in on me, you know, like just tearing me up. And he was like, "Oh, this is good. This is." So from then on, I felt like he kind of like, well, he took the tape, right? And I felt like he told people about it. He started playing it. So it's kind of like people on my block knew.
They knew
so
about it.
then there's a DJ from my neighborhood, from my block that, you know, I knew him, I was young, but he would just be like, "Oh, what's up, ugly?" You know, talk to me like that. Like it wasn't like a real, he was older than me. So it's not like we had a friendship, but it was that. So I knew him, he knew me. But I think Richie, I still don't know exactly how he found out that I rapped. And he came up to me and was like, "I heard you rap." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, let me hear something." So I just started rapping, you know, and then he, like, I guess, you know, he liked it. And from there, you know, he had an artist he was working with and he brought him. And then he started rapping. So I started rapping, like, so it was kind of like a little battle.
Yeah, like a battle.
And, you know, I held my ground, like it was good. So from then on, he just like took me to his crib. He's like, "Yo, I want to record you." And that's how it happened. You know, we started recording like the
So this was your
rhymes.
first time in a studio?
Oh yeah, but it wasn't. It was his house with turntables, right?
Okay.
So it was his house with turntables and yeah, and a mic. And at this point, well, I'm skipping a big part, right?
Well, tell us the big
Yeah,
part.
I'm skipping a big part because I'm thinking, the rapping he knew, right? So at this point, like certain things happened in my life, and I had my mom's apartment, right? She had gotten locked up. So I had left my grandmother's apartment and I was in my mom's apartment, right? And it's like the clubhouse. All the girls are there, like we're chilling. So he at this time knew I was rapping and he was trying to work with me. So he came over one time and the girls are singing a song and he's like, "What is that?" And they were like, "That's Lumi's." And then he's like, "Oh, you sing?" And I was like, "Well, I get, like I write songs, like these are my songs." And he was like, "Oh," so he was impressed by the songs. So that's when he was like, "Okay, like I want to take you to record this." So he recorded one of the songs they were singing that was called Grimy Streets. Recorded it, and we went to his crib and we recorded it on the Uchiwali beat. Remember the Nas? So we did that, and that was it. And I was like, not knowing what I was doing, I was all screaming like, you know, it's like trying to do whatever you know I could do. And he snuck me in the club, right? Like it was like, I don't know, 2 weeks later, and he was like hanging out with us. Like it was like we were all chilling and we were like all like underage, but he's the star DJ at the club. So he's getting us in the club. We're carrying his records, right? So we get in the club and then he just plays it in the club. He's like, come on, come up to the booth. And he plays it, Grimy Streets. And I was like, "Oh my God, stop, turn it off. It sounds so bad, right?" So it's like first time hearing yourself back. And I mean, it wasn't great, right? But it did something,
What
right?
did it do for you?
It did something because like I was looking at the crowd and people did not stop moving, right? And ultimately he kept playing it. And then I started seeing people like going up to him, like we kept going out to the clubs and stuff, and people were requesting it and asking for it. So it became like this underground, like we could only hear this in Rumbas, you know, we could only hear this here. So that's kind of how that took place. And it was crazy. Like I was literally discovered on my front stoop.
I love that.
You know, and I
love that.
manifested that. Like it was like somebody's just gonna find me, and somebody was there, and that's kind of how it happened. And it was just like, it was crazy. And from there on, it was like we're recording now, and he built the studio, and now it was like, you know, so like he was in. I definitely know I inspired that, and this is like his next. Also, he got a record label, and the rest is, you know, what happened. Like, you know,
I want to take it back though a little
Yeah.
bit, because junior high school, something
Yes.
happened to
Yes.
you, right? Where you no longer continue school.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Well, after
It was
right after
after
junior high school. Yes.
So what? I'm
Yes,
still
my
kinda
first
unclear.
year. Yeah, my first year of high school. I got rheumatoid arthritis, right? But I didn't know what it was. It was like my first year, and all of a sudden my joints started like stiffening up on me, and I was like, I didn't know what it was. I'm like, what is this? You know, and to this day, I don't know if I misdiagnosed or what, you know, because I got these like blotches on my legs, like, and it wasn't like an irritation. It was like blood. It looked like blood clots. It was crazy. So from that, it was like, what is this? And so my family, it's crazy because even with that, right, they still thought I was lying, that I didn't want to go to school. You know, it's like, oh, you're trying to get out of school. This is what my grandmother believed. Like nobody took it serious, you know? And, you know, my mom was in the middle of trying to get clean, you know, fighting it. And my dad had recently passed away. So it was just like, you know, like my mom was kind of caught up still that she can't pay attention to, like, I'm really sick. And my grandmother's older and she's like, you just don't want to go to school.
Right.
You know, that's
So
what
then
it is.
what does that do to you?
So for me, I'm like, it just progresses and it gets worse to the point that I got locked in the bathroom, right? Because I couldn't turn the knob. So that's when it was like, they knew it was serious because I'm like banging and I was like, I can't open the door. And they're like, just open the door. And I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like my wrist was so stiff, I could not turn the knob.
Yeah.
So from then, I think that's when they were like, oh, okay, this is for real, you know? But to be honest, it still it took me having to like have like a whole breakdown to then go to the hospital one New Year's Eve. My mother took me, and this is when they thought I had lupus, you know? So everything kind of had to break down for them to like, and I don't want to, who thinks that, you know, I'm not even a teenager yet, really, you know, like who thinks that this is like, I'm just starting high school, you know, like that this is you're gonna get this kind of, you know, and I was bad. You know, I was always fighting. I didn't want to go to school. So I understood them not believing me, you know? So, and that's kind of, they thought I had lupus, and then eventually it wasn't that. It was the arthritis and all my joints and stuff. And so I got home instruction after that because I couldn't continue with high school. So that's, and I was going back and forth from my grandmother's house to my mom's place. And there would be like a tutor there teaching me and stuff. But I was just like determined though, like, and with that home instruction, it kind of gave me the chill point. That's where the writing came in.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, what does that do to your spirit, like creatively? Like, if you're catching this breakdown. No one's taking you serious, but internally you're going through something. So creatively, how does this show up in your music?
Oh, I mean, it was first at this time I really didn't have music yet, right? Because I'm rapping in school and stuff and all that. But
you were still manifesting.
Yes, I was. Yes.
Yeah, you were still in your head with.
Of
some
course,
things.
this was gonna happen. This is just like, in my mind, me getting sick, like I was still, like you said, I still was like, okay, this is just like a bump in the road. I'm gonna get through this, and we're gonna get past this. And I just started writing like my feelings down because I just lost my dad, and you know, to put it to like my dad, when he came out of jail, he cleaned up his life. So the last, like, I had him for like the last 3 years, and he was amazing, and he taught me how to manifest. And he taught me how to, like, he was like,
what did he tell you?
Like, first of all, my dad was kind of the only person who ever believed me in anything, was like, oh, you want to be that?
Oh, in terms of your dreams.
You could do that. You could do anything you want to do. Like, don't let anybody tell you can't. And it's fine if they don't. You got to believe it. Don't worry about other people believing you. You have to believe yourself, you know? So that kind of, I took that and, you know, it was just more fuel. Like,
he was giving you like those words of affirmation.
Yes, and that's not a thing, you know. Now we tell our kids that, right? I think that's a thing. Now everybody's telling their kids, oh, you're a star, or you're this, or
you could do
and
it.
you could do this, you could do anything. And But back in the days, we didn't have that. It was like, you know, on the other side of that, it was, you're gonna be a dropout. You're always doing horrible. You ain't gonna be shit. You ain't gonna be, you know. So those little things. You know?
I'm sorry. What was your relationship with your mom like?
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good because she was dealing with her own issues.
Yeah,
or it wasn't good like
she was dealing with her own issues, and she was very negative.
Okay.
You know, she was very negative. I think she was fighting this drug addiction, you know, and I know she wanted to get out of it. She just didn't know how. So it was like this battle of that, and me being this dreamer, and I'm like saying my dreams out loud, and it's like, girl, please get out of here with that. Like, don't nobody want to hear that. It's not gonna happen. You're really not that talented, you know. Like, my mom was straight up that person, you know.
Like, she was like kind of like what you would call a Debbie Downer.
Oh yeah,
like
anything
you
you
were
say,
saying all these great
she's
things,
shooting
and
it down.
like,
She's
no.
shooting it down. She's shooting it down, you know. And
did you ever have like a conversation with your mom? And I just wonder where it's like, don't, like, we got to get out of this. Like,
I think once she once I got sick, right, and I started writing the poetry, she found like a book, right? Well, she didn't find it. My little sister found it, and my little sister was crying, right, because I was writing about my dad, and I'm writing all this stuff, but they thought I was suicidal, which I was not ever suicidal. Girl, I want to live. Like, I was you know, but they were looking at it like, she's depressed. She's this. And this is my little sister reading it, so she's crying, and she shows it to my mom, but my mom didn't think I was suicidal. She was just, it was like the first time she was impressed with me. She was impressed with the poetry.
Okay.
You know, but she really didn't tell me like much. She just told me after the fact. So she submitted, she had first, she was, like I said, she was always fighting, trying to get better. So she got her first job. She's on the train, and there's this poetry.com thing, and she submits my poems to this. But I didn't know this. So when she gets the letter that like my poems, like they were like, I won for some stuff. I got in the book that they had, and they were inviting us to go to LA.
Oh wow.
Right? But she was like, look, you won. And I was like, won what? And then she's like, I submitted your poems. And I was like, oh wow. Like, that's the moment where she seen me. You know, and it was crazy, because I still kind of, I got a little bit emotional, because I didn't realize how much I needed her approval.
Yeah.
You know, I was seeking it and wanted it. So, and I think it gave her some, you know, like, to keep going too. Like, oh wow, she is what she thinks she is. Yeah. You know, like, and at the same time, you know, she's in her fight, and she took the time out to do this. But we didn't get to like, they were like, you know, come to LA, we'll pay for your stay, the hotel and everything, you just got to get here. Like, but we didn't have money, you know. We didn't get to go. And they were like gonna present me with this award, and there was other people, and it was this whole poetry thing, you know. But just me knowing that I got that, it was like all these things that are like, you're gonna get through this. These are more things to show you you know, like, you're on the right path. Like, it could happen, you know.
It was like your manifestations were showing up.
Yes.
At that time.
Yes. And I think even with her, she seen it. And
so it was like undeniable at that moment.
Yeah. And you know, I want to say, I mean, me and my mom is like my best friend now. You know, like, we have a great relationship. I mean, there's I don't, like, she's turned everything around in her life now, but it was a struggle, you know, like, getting out, and addiction is an everyday fight still, you know. So but yeah, she was that. She was the you know, it's the yin and the yang. Yeah. My dad was like this, and then she was like, no, you know. But I think it prepared me for what the world was gonna do anyway.
How did you deal with like the grief and the passing of your dad? And the reason why I ask is because, as you know, in the culture, we don't talk about death, right?
Oh yeah.
That's like a taboo thing.
It's like, you see, you brush over it. Yeah, he passed away.
Yeah.
Then, you know, it's, you
but
don't
it's
want to,
not like, you don't get the healing from it at times. Like, when my grandfather passed away, it, you know, I felt it, but I felt like I felt it alone.
Yeah.
Even if everyone else felt it,
Yeah.
no one was talking about it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I just
Wow.
wonder, like, this guy that championed you, and,
Yeah.
you know, was uplifting, and now he's no longer
Yeah.
there. Like, how do you then deal with that?
I mean, I definitely felt like I didn't want to believe it. I didn't get to go to the hospital to see him, at the, like, he was sick, the 80s, people sharing needles and all this. So that's ultimately what took him out, you know? And I didn't want to believe it. Like, my mom told me he had it, and he told me one time. So even with him telling me, like, we went somewhere and he was saying something about he's getting disability checks, and I was like, well, why you getting disability checks, like, for what? And then it was like something, and I was like, what's your disability? He's like, I'm HIV positive, like, and I'm like, okay. I didn't even talk about it. I didn't. And he's dropping me off because I had a damn sty in my eye to get it removed at the, so I'm like, okay, so this is the hospital to get this, okay. Right. And I'm like, we didn't ever talk about it, you know?
Never questioned it,
no.
Nothing.
And I just seen this, like, man who came out of jail, completely 360. It's unbelievable when I say these things out loud, because I know people like, girl, like, he became a minister. You know, like, this, it's crazy, but like, he really turned his life around, and I seen him like this big man, and then I started seeing him deteriorate, and break down, and that was hard. So I felt like I went through it, and then, but like, right when it happened, it was just like anger. I was just angry, like, okay, like, all right, so, what now? Like, what now? So I think after that, so I started getting, like, in trouble in school and fighting a lot and stuff, and I was fighting before that, but I was fighting a little more. Like
the fights were getting deeper now.
Exactly. So I was angry, but those words, it just, he was too big of a figure and so spiritual, and so he installed that in me, like, you always have that to go back to. You always have these beliefs to go back to, no matter what in the world is happening, you could always tap back into that. And lucky that I grasped that, because when you're young, you don't get it, but I did grab, I grasped it, and it's kind of what, it's like the bank I'm always going to, like, for everything. So, but dealing with the grief was, like I said, I mean, it was anger, and then after that, it was like, I have to do something with my life, because he believed in me.
Like, you didn't want to let him down.
Yeah. So everything is like, I felt like my main goal was, like, to, like, do this, and like Logie Music is my company, his name is Logie, so everything is like to honor my dad, and so it was more like, of course, I mean, I get sad, and but I feel like with the little bit of time, I don't know if somebody had their dad their whole life, if they could be that impactful. He was just that great. So
I wonder, how does that show up for you as a mom now? Right? Like,
oh, wow.
Because now you have your mom and your dad, not so great of a relationship with your mom, great relationship with your dad. Dad is no longer here, but now as a mom, you show up. In what ways?
Oh, I mean, I have to be everything, though, because like I want to be both, right? So I try my best not to be the negative part, like what my mom is, but I do have a little bit of both of those.
Like, you gotta be stern.
Yes. So I have that, but how I just like, I want, like, my kids to know they could count on me, and I'm gonna literally do absolutely everything to make their life better, but ultimately they have to do that also. Like with my daughter, she's gonna be 15, so I'm seeing her molding into the person she's gonna be, and I'm like, you having trouble at school, and the thing is, I told her all about my life, the ups, downs, everything. So she kind of tries to use it against me, but it's like,
you too much.
Yes, exactly. And she's like, so well, didn't you get in trouble? Remember when you? And I was like, girl, I'm not on trial here, okay? Like, it's not. So she's going through little things in school and starting high school right now. So I'm just telling her, like, look, I'm going to be there to support you. I'm trying to motivate you, but this is your life. And your screw ups are going to follow you, not me. So don't fight me when I'm trying to help you. And I'm only going to be here but for so long. Your life is your life. So you got to take charge of it and create it the way you want. So I tell her all this, and I know it goes over her head, just like things went over my head when I was young, but you'll remember it when you need to. So I'm definitely that mom. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't, like, when she's wrong, she's something with her, I'm like, girl, you're wrong. I'm not that mom, like, my kid is innocent for everything. This is, I know those moms. Those are Latina moms. Those are, it's for their sons. The sons could do no wrong.
My mother. My mother would drop me off in school and be like, good luck.
But I think that, you see, like, Latina moms are, like, well, let me not stereotype us, but, like, we are that way, right, with our daughters, but I think with the sons, it's like
my brother never got in trouble. By the
This
way.
is what I mean.
Like growing up, I couldn't have tattoos. So to this day, I don't have a tattoo because my mom has made me so fearful. She's like, if you get a tattoo, I will literally rip off your skin. And I'm like, that's weird.
That's weird.
But then my brother, 17, got a tattoo.
And it's no problem.
He has a whole sleeve. I'm like, to this day.
Yeah.
I'm like, but why Anthony gets tattoos and I don't? And my mother's like, no.
The boys could do no
and
wrong.
I'm like,
the boys could do no wrong.
So I always tell my mother, Anthony's your favorite child.
Oh my God.
Because I'm the youngest of the girls. So I'm like, Anthony's your favorite.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's definitely, I've seen that in Latina moms, even friends. They say, like, it's the sons could do no wrong. But now I have a son. So
now he's.
I'm checking myself, though. I'm checking myself. I'm like, oh my God, how am I this soft for him? What's wrong with me? God. So my daughter be like, oh yeah, he could just get away with everything. Like, so when he do something wrong and I'm screaming at him, my daughter can't wait to jump in. She's like, yeah. And she'll spank him and I'm like, don't hit him. What are you doing? So she's just like, she's like, he gets away with everything. I'm like, girl, he's 3. He just turned 3. So I'm trying not, I don't want to be that, that mom. Like, mom. I got to be out. You got to even be extra hard on your boys. You know, like, you got to show them love, obviously, but you got to be hard. It's tough out here, you know, and these boys got to be able to know, like, be able to make it without a woman.
Absolutely.
You know,
you're right.
Like, cook for yourself, clean for yourself. And then when you actually find a woman you love, you choose her, not just because she could take care of you like your mom, because you really want to be with her, because you could do this all on your own. You know, so that's the kind of, that's the son I want to raise, not, but the jury's still out.
How much of your career have you shared with your kids? Like, how much do they know? Because this industry is tough. Right?
Oh yeah, my daughter, I think she kind of knows everything. Yeah, she kind of knows, not everything. There's always things that pop up, and she asks. My daughter's like me. She asks questions after questions, and then she's like, she has this thing. She's like, oh my God, there's so much lore to your life, right? So I'm like, what do you mean lore? And she's like, yeah, like when I talk about, growing up in Spanish Harlem, and like, friends getting arrested, people shooting, all these things. But because I try to tell her, like, I'm trying to make, this is not your life, and then she's like, but I want to experience things too. Like, I was like, girl, you do not want to run from gunshots. No, that's not what you want to, go through. So I tell her it all, because I want her to know me. And I want her to know me later. Like, the thing with my grandmother that I miss is, she didn't speak a lot. So I didn't, even though I would ask questions, she would dodge them. And I got to the point that I stopped, because I know I'm not really getting much from her. But, our grandparents love Atlantic City. That's where the Latinos go. So she loved taking her bus trips to Atlantic City, my grandmother.
Oh my God,
so, yes. So we, one birthday, we all went with her, So, and it was amazing. Like, we all stayed in the hotel. My cousin came too, and she, like, actually spoke to us about when there was this man who used to call her out the window while she was married to my grandfather.
Oh, she was spilling tea.
And we were like, and I was like, wait. And then you remember, wait, you was young? And you was this? And other men other than grandpa liked you? And you know, like, so it was just, and she was just telling us, and she was like, yeah, and I would get my wig together, and I would this and that, and she was like, oh yeah, and your grandfather was so jealous. He was so jealous because all the men wanted me, and I was like, so it was just
she
like
finally spoke.
Yeah, and I just remember that moment, and you know, we didn't have that again, but that was enough for me to be like, I got to tell my kids about my life, you know, because I wish I had more of that. I think we could have like created more memories. You know, she was very closed in, and I think it was like, you know, little by little as the years go and the generations, right? Like we start breaking those you know, those trains, those things that were put on us, that you stay even if the marriage is not good. You stay even if you're getting beat. You know, like all these things, you know, that's kind of things that were installed in us, and that well, I think in my grandmother's era.
in my family too.
You know, so
it's a lot of that.
It's, you know, so I think little by little we're breaking that. You know, like I was the first person to have a dream, and to actually go for it and pursue it and do it. So I think, you know, that's what will show my daughter that you can do things, you know. So it's just all about like showing up, and it's like you know, believing in yourself and all these things. So, and that's fine if that's how I grew up, but that's not how, I don't gotta let that be an anchor. You know, we hold, like I say, sometimes we hold on to those bad memories, and that doesn't serve us. It's not gonna help, you know. It doesn't help. So
during your manifestation
right
process, you once mentioned that you felt like everything was just happening so quickly for you. What
happened so quickly?
Like what happened? Because you go from this little girl wanting to have this Madonna like career, right?
And
now it's happening.
And now it's happening. So from the moment that you know, I recorded with the DJ and stuff, you know, I hate that I don't say his name, you know, I mean, because he did, that beginning was good, you know, we had a fallout, but it was you know, he seen something in me, and I will always appreciate him for that, you know. But he from that to then, okay, he's playing it in the club, and then it was like, oh, people are requesting it, and then now we keep doing records, and he's playing them, and now people know me, right? On locally and in the clubs and other DJs, because he's pretty popular. So now other DJs are like, yo, they asking me for this record, I need those records. You know, so it kind of starts growing, and then bang, it's on the radio. And it just like, it's crazy because it took time, but it's like, even though you believe it's gonna happen, you don't realize when it happens, it's fast. It's like boom, 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 right?
That's what they say.
You know, it's like, you on the radio. Now, record labels are calling because this blew up. They want it, they this. You gotta get your look together. You gotta be ready to perform. You're gonna be on TV. And I'm like, oh, can we pump the brakes? Like, wait a minute.
Slow down.
You know, and mind you, at this point, I you know, I still have my illness, and I was on medication, and I don't know if people, you know, prednisone, steroids is something that blows you up. I like lost hair, I was swollen, so I was going through a lot of changes in the middle of this, you know. So it was like, but you can't stop a dream, right? It's happening now, you gotta go.
Like, you were striking while the iron was hot.
Exactly. You know, and so many things weren't right, but it was the moment, and we had to just go for it. And you know, I thank God that I didn't punk out. You know, even though I knew I wasn't ready, I didn't really know how to perform. It was like, boom, go. You know, so now it's like where people kind of have this artist development. Then I didn't have that chance because I had a record that had legs and it was running. So I had to catch up.
Without you.
Yes. So so I had
if you want to be a part of the video, great. If you don't,
it's all right. You know, and literally I did get threats that they were gonna take the, like, people were like, we'll jack your record and this, like, it was big. It was really big, you know. And I, you know, you could imagine these things, but I didn't. When it happened, it was so fast, and I'm like, whoa, you know. And you see the other side of it, like, oh, this is what you wanted, but right away I seen the dark side of it. You know,
The dark side in terms of the music industry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and how they don't care about you at all,
They
right?
don't care about your feelings, your health,
like
nothing.
it was immediately like I got signed, like I'm in the, like I'm there and I don't have a lawyer, right? You know, here we go, right? I'm in the, and I don't have a lawyer, and I'm like, but they're like, you got to strike what you just said.
Strike while
That
the
word
iron's
was said to me. You got to sign this. You got to strike while the iron's hot, because you know, then what? Tomorrow will be somebody else, and it's over for you. So I'm like, okay. So I'm, you know.
So you're signing.
So you telling me this is good for me, right? I remember I looked over to the guy I believed in. You're telling me this is good, and it wasn't all bad, you know. Like, I don't think everybody has the best deal when they start out, when they start out, you know. But I lived, I learned, and ultimately, I think since the record was so big, I was able to survive, you know, off this record forever, and able to, and me being this like resilient person, I was able to make it and still do more and just go after that, because I was never chasing money. I was never chasing fame. I was chasing a dream, something I wanted to do and be, and you know, like, and get out and inspire, because you know that was like what it was for me. So like I just remember, like, when people asked me about, oh, so financially this, and I was like, I didn't even care about money at all.
It wasn't about that for you.
Not, and also to me today still, obviously, you know, you have to like stand your ground. You're not gonna do things for free, or you're not gonna, you know, but like what drives me is not money, you know, and it never has. So I think that's why I kind of always been good. Thank God, you know. I've always had enough to, like, all you got to do is music, you know, and you know, and stay up, and you know, and don't try to live beyond your means to impress people, you know.
That was the part that I recently learned for myself.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's very hard.
It's
because you're like kind of going against like your surroundings and what you're seeing.
Yes.
And then it's like, can't keep up with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I seen people trying to keep up with it, and you know, you remember the stories, like you think of MC Hammer, and you think of and you know, and you're like, dang, he had so much, how could he lose it? And it's the keeping up and trying to impress people who ain't gonna be. And I always understood that, because my thing was, I learned it from my neighborhood right away. As soon as the record took off and things were happening, I couldn't go to my block no more, right? And I could go to my block and people be like, oh, what's up, Lumie? And it's like nothing, you know. Nobody's like, oh, let me take a picture with you. Oh my God, or this, or surrounding me. But then when that happened, like the same people who were passing me by were like, let me get a picture, or surrounding me. And I understand, like, they're like, I know you, you know, and it's good. But for me, the feeling was like, I'm me. Why are you treating me like this?
Like, why are you switching up?
Yeah, and it felt bad. You know, it didn't feel good.
So it didn't feel like, oh my God, they like, now they see me. Like the same way you felt like your mom saw you?
Yeah.
Did you feel that for like your community?
I did to an extent, but it just never really felt, with some people, it was like, oh, they, you know, it was good because it felt genuine. You know, when people are genuinely happy for you, but I could tell that there was something where I know with certain people, I was like, oh, this don't feel right. And so I never seeked validation from like the fake friends, or, you know, I want celebrity friends. I want to be in the party. I want to be in the mix. So I kind of feel like it's what reserved me and saved me, because I could have got caught up in things, you know, that I didn't, you know, and I just seen the fakeness right away. And
is that the part that you hate the most of the industry?
Of course. I mean, I just hate that just because you're successful, people want to be around you that probably don't care at all. Like, I respect wanting to be around somebody successful, because you want to learn from them and you actually are inspired. Right? Like, that to me, I respect, or, you know, and you just like this person, or, but like, you could have people around you who don't care about you at all, are wishing you bad, but you're here now, so let me get some of that. Let me be in the party. Let me get in the door with you. But ultimately, oh, she gonna fall off, or she's this, or she's that, and they're, you know. So I felt that right away, and so I kind of like, I don't know, like if it wasn't for me doing a show or something, I didn't come out the house. You know, I kind of did like, I felt like I did block off that, and I just stuck to my day ones. I stuck to my family, my sisters. Thank God I have sisters and cousins, and those have always been my circle. I can't say that I made many friends outside, you know, but I feel like the past couple years, maybe I have more because I've opened up more and I've gotten rid of certain things that were not good that was around me, that were bringing negative things, you know? So now I choose the people who I want to be around, and, you know? Right. So, yeah, I'm a late bloomer in everything. So it's like,
no, now, that's fine.
Yeah, now I'm picking my friends, and now I'm, you know, but it's like, it's just never too late.
It just happened so fast for you. So you didn't have an opportunity to kind of
figure out,
pick things out, or be selective with certain things.
No.
It was like this or nothing.
Yeah. And a blessing that I had too was going overseas. You know, within my career, I want to say that was the blessing, seeing the other side of the world. You know, leaving your neighborhood, leaving, you know, the people that sometimes you feel like you got to impress because, and it was like, oh, the world is way bigger. Yeah. Why am I worried about this? Or why am I, you know, so seeing that and then seeing the love you could get in other countries
and the way they kind of accept the music,
yes,
right? Like
exactly.
It's different. And like I always say, like when I go back to Puerto Rico, because you hear music differently, and you hear it first over there before it even gets to New York. So I always say, like, that overseas love for you.
Oh yeah.
How is that?
It's, I mean, it's amazing. It's been, I think it was like me, if I didn't have that, I probably would have stopped. You know, I probably would have stopped if I just didn't go overseas and see that other side of the world, because I was in this world, right? And I was around people who were like, this is what matters. Right. And if these people turn on you and they don't like you, you fell off, you're nothing. And, you know, so if I would have believed that, you know, maybe if that was the only surroundings, then I probably would have believed it, because, you know, what happens is once all your manifestations come true, right? And all your beliefs, then people start telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that, you're doing this wrong, and it starts messing with you. Yeah. You know, and then you forget, whoa, I got my, you know, with some help, but I got myself here because I believed in me and my thoughts and my ideas, you know? So it's a lot of readjusting you got to do in life all the time. Yeah. Readjusting your thoughts, your mind, remember who you are, you know, remember what you want. Don't let people sometimes steer you. Yes. Because sometimes people be like, you know, you should, and then you be like, maybe I should, right? And then you're like, the hell am I talking about? I'm not even interested in that. You know, I'm not. So it happens that way. So it's just like a lot of learning, you know, opening your eyes. And that's what traveling did for you. Did for me. The other side of the world did for me. It just showed me there's so much more, you know, to life.
But what about the people that, like, the people that were on the song, that were remixing the song, people that you would hope one day to work with? Yeah. Like, what were they telling you at that time? Because they were already, you know, a little bit more seasoned.
Okay, so this is the thing, right? I didn't, when I say I'm a late bloomer, like, I didn't ever speak for myself, right? So I was signed to the DJ, right? And he was speaking to the artist for me. I didn't speak for myself. I was like, if I'm around a Busta Rhymes, right, or Fabulous at the time, I'm starstruck, right? Because this just happened for me. They want to get on this record. I'm like, what? They're on my record. This is so. And being around these people, I don't even know how to talk to them. I don't know how to speak. And the truth is, like, here, there, and he's doing all the talking. So I'm like a fly on the wall to my own life, like, you know. So that's kind of what it was for a very long time, because after him, it was somebody else, you know. And this is why I feel like, you know, I finally took charge of my life, like, really recent, to be honest. You know, really recent, where I was just like, I was doing it, but you realize you can't fully do it when you're kind of like going, you ain't going all the way. You still got this anchor pulling you. So you're trying to, but the anchor keeps pulling you back. So you gotta let the anchor go and just sail, you know, go on your sail where you want to sail. That's it, you know? So that's kind of it. But I regret that I didn't have those conversations with artists and stuff. So that now when I meet people and I'm around other, you know, I was very guarded, you know, but now I'm like open, like I'm friendly, and I'm like, girl, don't be scared. Go up to them and talk to them. Go up to them, and you know, like, and now I like for the first time, like being me and seeing like I didn't even know that people liked me.
How?
You know, like
I mean, it was
because
so like
no, like. Cause you know, as much as you hear the love, right? Then you hear the hate too. It's out,
right.
And you know, sometimes like they say, you could get all these good comments, but that one bad comment you get will mess with your head sometimes. You know, and it will linger. So you know, coming out, I got a lot of, you know, backlash and stuff. People love the record. Then it was like, oh, this is, you know, a flash in the pan. She's gonna go away. We're never gonna hear from her. You know, so it was that also. So I kind of just always, I didn't really realize that till like I went to recently, last November, right? I went to Australia. I did this tour, and it was with a bunch of artists, and this is the first time I did a tour with other artists. You know, I would do my own shows, and so I was very, like I said, like secluded.
Yeah, you were in your bubble.
I never felt part of the music business. I felt like I was in Lumidee world. Always, you know. So stepping out and like, you know, even though I had records with a lot of artists, I didn't ever get to really communicate with them, you know, and being there and like people coming up to me and they like, yo, telling me their experience with the record and with me and loving my music and how dope I am. And I'm like, kind of like, it's crazy because you have this thing where you're like, are you telling the truth? Or you not? It's like, is this
but
real?
See, that's
you know,
from growing up.
Yeah, you don't know if it's real or not.
You can't tell the real from the fake.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, thank you. But then like one person, like I kind of, you know, I didn't want to say I brushed him off. I was like, oh, thank you. He was like, no. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you belong here, right? You know that? And I was like, does he know what I'm thinking inside? I was like, how does, where he's like, you know, you belong here. Like, you know, what you did, like you changed the fabric of the culture in music.
1000%.
Do you not understand that? And I never heard these kind of words. You know, I never heard that. So I was like, oh, okay. Like it just felt good. And to hear that from like your peers, you know, other people who are doing this and are on stage and they're looking at you this way. So I was like, oh, okay. So it's like what time did, you know, like 20 years later,
that's
you
what
know,
I'm saying. 20 years later, then you have Nicki Minaj sample it.
Like exactly. So like, it's like the, you know,
that's the affirmation. How you don't see the music is timeless.
Exactly. So it's like this blessing. So there's what not made me, but like over time, like I kind of, me and the record never leave you. It was always this battle with the record. You know, the record's bigger than me, and that's fine. But I'm not only that record, right? You know, I'm more than just this record. I love that you love it, but like, yo, I got more here. There's a lot more in. You know, like I have so much more to give. But
so did you have like a love-hate relationship with?
Yeah, definitely.
Never leave you.
Definitely, like definitely. Even you know, and like I tell you, sometimes it's just like some people gotta smack sense into you. Like I was doing a video and this girl, like she was on the set, like you know, one of the extras on the set, and she came up to me and she was like, oh my God, I just like, I love your song, Never Leave You. And then she was saying all this stuff, right? And then I was like, all right, thank you. So I remember going over and talking, like once we're in the diner eating, and there's somebody who's really, he's a friend of a friend, right? So he's like a stranger, but I'm saying this stuff, right? So I was like, yeah, that girl. And I was like, all right. And I'm like I said something, cause it kind of was negative, like, cause I don't know, like I said, sometimes I don't believe it. I feel like, are you trying to, it was a weird thing, you know, that was going on with me. So he kind of checked me and he was like, and I was like, all right, but we're here doing this record, right? And I don't want to, it's something. And he was like, what do you mean? Like, you, like, she, like, she really means that, right? She loves the like you. Do you know what people feel? Like you need to fucking respect that record.
Yeah.
You need to. And I was like, oh damn. Okay, like
put
you
you
know,
in place.
yeah. And
He
then when
checked
he
you.
said you need
Yeah.
to, you're like you did that, and it don't matter how long ago you did it. It doesn't matter. You know, people still feel it. You know, people still live with it, and they live and they take that with them. So you should be happy about that.
Yeah.
We interrupt this episode to tell you about Lumidee Lofts located in Orlando, Florida, where creativity shines and content comes to life. Looking to execute video or photo content for your personal business or brand? Look no further. Lumidee Lofts sets are incredibly adaptable and they have a distinctive ambiance to suit all your creative needs. Make sure you book now at Lumidee Lofts. Now, back to Growing Up Latina.
And I was like, oh, okay, I should, you know, but and it was a battle, you know, but these little things like, you know, within these messages that get dropped, and I don't know who's making this guy say this. He don't know me. And he got the, you know, like, how dare you like check me at this table? You don't know me, but I didn't, but I took it, you know, and it was like, okay, I needed to hear that, you know, and those are just those things, you know, like I think we get like I say, sometimes the hate be louder than the love, but you got to remember the love.
Yeah. What do you feel Never Leave You has taught you?
Yeah. Ooh. What it's taught me is that like just believe in, like really just to ultimately believe in yourself no matter what, and that things don't got to be perfect to work. You know, I think after that, you know, being that I got the backlash, like, oh, you're not a great singer, you're not this, you're not that, you know, all the nots, all the things that I'm not, I like was trying to like, not trying, but like when I would after like record, it's like I'm nitpicking everything, and with so I want like things to be perfect, you know, because like I felt like I didn't have a chance to perfect it, right? Because it was thrown out there, and I was like, it could have been better, but it's like, but it worked, right?
But
and people loved it, and they loved the imperfection of it. So it's just you being you, like be naturally yourself, like, and you, like you don't, you know, like people, they. The people who need to get it are gonna get it. You know, they know what's real. They know what's authentic, what's coming from a real place, you know? And it don't gotta be perfect, you know? So I think that's what I've learned, and I gotta keep telling, with everything else that I do, you know, I'm working on other businesses, other things, and I'm like nitpicking every single thing.
And he's like, girl,
and,
just put it
yeah,
out.
and this is why that's my
out.
mom. Like, hey, please. She's like, hey, please, girl, just put it out already. It looks good. It looks good.
Yeah.
And in time you fix it later, but it looks good, you know? And so, yeah, that embrace the imperfections. Embrace, you know, the part that makes you, you know, because that's what makes you, you know? Like before I hated my nose is a little chubby, and I would stare at my nose, but it's like, girl, that's
you
your nose.
everything.
Yes, that's your nose, you know? Like, and these are things us as women and being in the business, we go through these things, you know? But I think, it's just embrace your imperfections. That's it. And things don't got to be perfect for people to love them, and for it to work, and for it to not just work, for it to inspire. For it to inspire people and make them feel something, because ultimately you want people to feel something, to take something away from what you're giving, you know, like, this makes me feel this makes me, you know. And with music, that's the main thing. We want it to take it. When we hear any kind of song, right, you hear it, it takes you back to that time. And
that's what it was for me. Like, I could literally picture Harlem. Literally.
So this is why. So it's like I'm thankful that at the time, like, timing is everything. Although I wasn't ready, that was an era that needed to be captured, and this record caught it. You know, and it made people feel that, and they live with it. You know, so look, and there's 5-year-olds, right? They were 5 at the time. They know this record still, you know, so they out here 25, but they know Never Leave You. So it's a blessing, and and it's enough. You know, I realized that's what I learned with the record. It's enough. Like, it took you this far, and everything else that you do, it could also be amazing, and the people who need to grab it will, and the people who like it will. People will find your work, you know. But don't ever don't let the naysayers or this make you feel that this wasn't enough. You know, like, you did this out the gate and it affected people and it, you know.
And you got it.
Yeah.
I wonder, how did that, just because I've always wondered about this, but how did we get to the point that Nicki Minaj, is that a phone call? Like, how does that go down?
Yeah. Well, that went down. Well, it's kind of, it's an email.
Yeah.
It's an email.
It's a communication.
Yeah, it's a communication thing, you know. Especially, you know, people remix it and do it unofficially all the time, and you don't get, you know, you don't approve it, but it's fine because you respect the culture of things.
Right.
You know, like I remix people's things without approval and do mixtapes and stuff like that, you know. So she, like, I got the email from my administrators, the people who like administrate my publishing, and it was like, hey, you know, we need a quick approval on this, and I'm looking at, and I get this, you know, from like I said, thank God, like people are always using a part of this record, even if it's the melody. It's, I have to approve.
I mean,
these
she
things.
kept your vocals.
Yeah. So this
Like,
is
she
like,
kept your vocals on it.
So
Like,
I like just me.
This felt a little different.
No, this that's what I'm saying. Like people will cover it, do this, do their own version, but I'm like, I'm on the record still.
Yeah.
It's like
100%.
So hearing it was like it gave me chills. First of all, when I seen the name, I was like, wait, Nicki Minaj. I was like, hold on, wait, okay. So I was like trying to play the record, and at the time she wasn't on it. It was just the beat and me. So I'm like, is this like what it is? Like me on, and they were like, yeah, you know, they're gonna send in the rest later, but they're, you know, they're, you know, working on everything and stuff. So I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, I approve. This is good, you know, and it was just, it was dope that she let it rock out. Like I'm on there, and you know, it was a blessing that my daughter is like a Barb and a Nicki fanatic. So it just gave me those cool mom points, you know, and it made her, I think at the moment, look at me like, oh, okay, you know, like look at me a little, not different, but like, look,
put some respect
Nicki,
on my name.
oh, so Nicki knows you, you know, like, oh, Nicki knows who you are, you know. So it was that. So it was a great moment, you know. And and ultimately, like I said, you know, with things like this, sometimes things don't get approved, and I'm not the last.
Right.
You know, it has to go through the chain of, you know, it's a lot of people, it's producers on it, you know, the label who owns whatever. Yeah. So everybody has to approve it for things to go through.
But even that happened quick, because then once you approved it, now all of a sudden it goes out. Yeah. Then the video gets shot, and then it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it was out. It was out there. Like, and I didn't even know. I know I said yes, right? And I didn't get back that it was like a go, right?
Right.
But seeing her, I seen her post it, and you know, my boy called me and was like, text me. I'm like, it's like 3 a.m. He's like, you know, he curses and he's like, go online, look at this, look. I was like, oh, well, I guess it's a go. Like, and it was. So I woke my daughter. I woke her up early. Like, it was 4 a.m. Like, look at this, look at this. I didn't even tell her about what was going on, because if it didn't get approved, I didn't want her to be disappointed if it didn't go through. So once it went through and her vocals was on it, she was like, is this real? Is this real? Like, so it was a great moment.
I love that for you.
And it's definitely, you know, it's just like the record just keeps coming through, you know, it keeps coming through. So.
And now you have new music.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Yes. So,
I like it. It's very up-tempo.
Oh, the Honestly 3000.
Honestly 3000. I love that.
Yes. So I will explain Honestly 3000, right?
Okay.
So Honestly 3000 was because I'm very moody, right? So
También.
Yes, I be in my feelings.
Yeah.
So a lot of my records are like slow pace, other than, you know, Never Leave You. People think I'm just a party girl. Like, I'm not, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I dropped a project called 1013, and it was just vibes, you know? So, but honestly, so coming on the 20-year anniversary, I was like thinking what kind of record I could do from Almost Famous album that people loved, you know? And, like, redo it for the 20-year anniversary, you know? And honestly is on I have a record called Honestly, and it's actually the mother to Never Leave You, right? So honestly, was the first record I did, and you know, he Ted, who's a DJ, right? He was playing it in the clubs and stuff, and people liked it, right? So one day I'm like, oh, I got a remix for Honestly. So who I'm thinking I'm Diddy, right? I'm making remixes. We ain't nowhere yet, you know? This is before having, you know, any kind of offers, deals, you know, we're just in the club with it. So I'm like, I got a remix. So we do the remix, and Never Leave You, is the remix to Honestly. So
yeah, because I did hear the similarities in between.
Yeah, so Honestly is the mother, you know, gave birth to Never Leave You. So I said, I need to honor the mother, you know. Absolutely. So I'm gonna redo that for the 20-year anniversary, and it just took some time because I'm like, how do I do it? You know, because this is the other record that, you know, my core fan base love. They love Honestly, right? So, you know, because you're scared to touch something, you don't want to mess it up. So I was like, you know, and I'm in the studio, and I'm like, I gotta hit him with the Jersey bounce, you know, because this is something. In 2010, I was doing a whole bunch of Jersey records, so I was like, you know, it's coming back right now. People are tapping in, and I want to tap back in, you know. So, you know, my producer Eve, he's messing with the beat, and then I'm like, wait, I could probably flip Honestly on this. So he's playing it, and then I just start saying certain words and saying it fast and doing it, and it was like. And we just recorded it, you know, it took a few shots of, you know, I don't know what we were drinking, bourbon, I don't know, we was drinking and stuff. And
but it got us there.
But it got us there, yeah. So I was just like going, and it just felt good. And it was like not forced. It happened so naturally, you know. Sometimes you're like, do it again, do it again, do it. It just happened so naturally, and it felt good. And the only thing I just went back on, and we were like, oh, we're going to drop this, but I didn't have a rap verse. So, I kept listening to it, and I'm like, you know, and I'm remembering one of my number one fans, who's also my bestie and works with me, Kosiang, telling me, girl, you know why I fell in love with you was your rapping and your singing, you know? So I always remember that. So I was like, I need a rap verse. To round it off to like the beginning of Lumi and what makes Lumi, I need to throw a rap verse in it. So once I threw the rap verse in it, I was like, yeah, she's ready to go.
You know what's so crazy? I often hear like when Drake came out, like, oh, this guy's like singing and rapping, and I'm like, yo, Lumidee did that.
Thank you.
Like, Lumidee was on that way before
Yes.
Drake even touched that.
Yeah, and
You know what I
nobody
mean?
and everybody was telling me, pick a lane. You know, it wasn't like welcomed. You know, like, you're rapping or you're singing. Which one is it? What you want to do? And I'm like, but it's music.
Yeah.
You know, like, I want to do both. Like,
And if you could do it well,
exactly.
why?
You know, so I was like, I got met with that in the beginning a lot, you know, but it's crazy because that's a thing now. You know, it's accepted. You know, I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm the beginning of that, but I was early on with it.
No, you were definitely early.
You know,
with it,
and it
for
wasn't
sure.
something that was accepted. You
Yeah.
know, so yeah, shout out to Drake. You know,
How did,
I love Drake. Yeah.
Nah, Drake is dope.
Yeah.
Who's someone you would want to work with that's like current, like,
Work with.
yeah.
You know, I've
Or
always.
what would be like your dream remix to Never Leave You? Like, like someone that you would definitely want them on that.
I feel like it already checked all boxes. Like,
Facts. Absolutely.
Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
You know, Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
Fab. You know, New York. It like the New York icons, and that, you know, like, tapped in already. Like, I feel like it's definitely checked those boxes for me. Growing up, I just always wanted to work with producers, even though I love people. Like, I mean, one of my main inspirations is Mary J. Blige. I go to Madonna, but when I found Mary, it was like, oh, she's like, you know, the girl around the way that I want. She's the teenager girl that I look up to.
Yeah,
you know, like, she got the swag, she has that. So.
It just sucks that when Mary, they just want her to be so angry and sad.
Oh yeah,
because they feel like that's when she makes the best music.
But there it goes, people telling you what you should be, you know, like, come on. Like, I mean, but this Mary that we have today is Mary owning who she is, right? It's Mary, like, forget about, not that she never owned who she was, but like, I'm me. She's an actress. She's doing a podcast. She's doing all, you know, like, I just love this Mary, you know,
she
like,
took her power back.
Exactly. Taking your power back. And I think, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, after the pandemic, this is what I've seen with a lot of women. It's like, don't know, that kind of being stuck in the house made you see people, made you see, and it's like, I'm gonna be, I gotta, you know, I gotta take the wheel.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I gotta take the wheel on this, you know, because this is my life, and it could stop at any moment, and I don't want to like be this person that people thought I was, you know, like or what they expected, you know, like I want to be
whatever their
me.
vision was.
Exactly, like try to be that. No, I want to show you who I am.
Right.
That's it, and accept it or not. You know, so
so then is it safe to say that you would never like sign with a major at all? Like, would you?
Yeah, it's safe to say that. It's safe. So it's completely safe to say that. Yeah, I don't even being independent, and it's crazy being with a major label. I think people don't understand that pressure.
Yeah.
They do not care. It's like, I mean, I don't know what it is today because it's been a while since I've been with a major, but you know, being independent, being able to drop a record when you want, drop a video, doing this, obviously you don't have the machine behind you.
Yeah.
You don't have
but
the
you
push.
have the creative control.
Exactly. And there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
When you are an artist that just wants to put that out. You know, now if you in it for the bank, then I think you probably want to go with the majors or that help, or I don't know, because the truth is they kind of, you're not really making money with majors now unless you're touring and you do extremely well like a Drake. Or, you know, you have to be like skyrocket, you know, so it's tough, but that's not something I'm interested in at all. I'm interested in living and, you know, raising my kids and this next chapter of my life, doing other things, other businesses, and still dropping music, you know, the way I want to, you know, like.
What are some of the other things you'd want to tap into?
Oh, well,
outside of
it, I mean, you know, I want to put my business hat on, like I want to be that, you know, not that I want to be that, I am that, but you like, know, I just want to, but I want to, you know, tap more into that space of things, that everything is not, you know, I don't want to be, I would love to be, you know, on stage and jumping on stage in my 60s and stuff. That's fine, you know, but I want to sit on a stool doing it with a band. You know, I don't want to be like, hey, doing all this, you know, like we got to bring it down some. So I want to be able to do other things that inspire me. Like, you know, I'm a very spiritual person, you know, and like I said, that's always something I tap back into. So, you know, I make candles, right? Since 2017, this is something that spiritually helped me. I don't know, it's weird. Like lighting a candle was something
it's soothing.
Yes, it did something for me. So like everything that talks to me, I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do that. So I was like, you know, I mean, listen, everybody does candles, right? But like, I don't think it's like it took on a whole thing, but like doing that and kind of more like mystical things that are about energy and
are you like in tune with like the chakras and stuff like that? Like have you tapped into that type of?
I'm not that deep.
Okay.
I'm not that deep. No, I'm not. I would like to be.
Okay.
I would like to be, and I respect people who are, and I believe in all that, you know, but I'm more in like, girl, you feeling something, like the sage, you know,
the Palo Santo.
Yes, the Palo Santo, you know, like have your chants, have your little rituals that you do. So I'm into that part, and that's you know, that's been in my family on my father's side, you know, so naturally I gravitate to that, you know, and ultimately being like the master of your universe, right? Like
as cliche as it sounds,
it's the truth.
It's the truth.
That's it.
You know what I got into recently? Now this is gonna sound crazy. It was actually referred to me by my GYN doctor.
Oh,
random.
Okay.
Random. Like I'm going to my GYN doctor.
Yeah.
And she's like running my blood work, and she's like doing the test, and she was like, "You look stressed out. Like you look like you're catching anxiety."
Oh.
My GYN. Like
okay.
Like what? You know, my
like,
psychologist.
girl,
you
why
know?
are you looking up here? It's just like, okay.
So she's like, "You look stressed out," and I'm like, "Yeah. What do we do about that?" And she's like, "You know what? You should do breath work."
Oh.
And I was like, what? She was like, there's something called DMT breath work.
Okay.
And if you tap into it, she says there's only 2 ways you can tap into it. One way is like when you're first born.
Okay.
And then when you pass away. It's like this endorphin of some thing that just gets released in your body.
Okay.
The other way you tap into it is through ayahuasca. Have you ever heard of that?
I did, but
Will Smith did it.
Okay.
So it's like this thing that you drink. And then the way Will Smith described it is like you go to hell and back.
Okay, is I seen
You've
there's
seen
like a
it?
movie or there's some that people do this and they're like tripping, right?
Yes.
Like really.
It's
yeah.
considered a psychedelic. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. She's like, no, trust me, you got to do it. So she's like, come to Brooklyn. I teach this class.
Okay.
It's going to be amazing. So I go in the class, right? I'm from the Bronx.
Yeah.
So going to Brooklyn is already like a travel for me.
Okay.
So I go to the class and you have to take off your shoes. And she's like, I hear her like on the mic and she's like, you know, if you pass out, it's gonna be okay. Some people are gonna pass out, some people are gonna cry, some people are gonna vomit. All of that is normal. And I'm taking off my shoes like, I don't know if I wanna feel all of this right now.
Oh my God.
But I just went with it.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, I just trust this lady. So I was like,
I mean, you should trust
right?
her. Yeah.
The GYN,
yeah, you
I
should.
trust her. So we go in the class and they give you a form and it's a consent form. So you check off if you want to be touched or not.
Oh.
Now I'm from the hood. I
don't
don't want to be touched.
Exactly. It's not
I
happening.
don't want to be touched.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
like, no. So they put like a red tape on the mat. So you lay down and she's going through these series of breath work. Now I'm about 40 minutes in to this breath work and she's like, open up your heart chakra. I want you to see your 6-7-year-old self. Lumi, when I saw little baby Allie, I started crying.
Oh my God.
I went through, and I was like, what is happening?
So how did you? Okay, so
I was like, what?
that was the moment where you was believing this is, or
Like you go through
yeah.
it, and at first you feel weird, right?
Okay.
Like you're like, okay, I'm just breathing,
Yeah.
right? And then literally 40 minutes in, she's like, because you're 40 minutes in with your eyes closed, so something, you feel something,
Yeah.
a tingling or something.
Yeah.
Your mind is somewhere else.
Yeah.
And she's like, just picture her, him or her. What are you saying to them? And I literally saw my younger version of myself.
Yeah.
And I'm on the mat and I'm crying.
Oh wow.
And remember, I signed the consent form that says you cannot touch me. So the one of the teachers, like she grabs my feet.
Oh.
Because I was uncontrollably like crying.
Yeah,
So she
yeah.
grabs my feet and she's like, you're okay. You're okay. At that moment, I just wanted a hug. I was like, I just want a hug. Like, just touch me.
Girl, give me a hug.
Yeah,
But they couldn't.
it was-
They couldn't do it.
No, they couldn't.
Yeah,
but so the reason why I bring it up is because it's such a game changer. Like now, since that day, I've done it every single day. Like I will not miss
Yeah.
breath work in the morning. Like that is how
wow.
I start my morning.
Okay.
I do 3 rounds of breath work. And because they say like your breath, like
Yeah.
whenever you're anxious or you're going
Yeah.
through something,
Yeah.
you breathe a certain way, right?
Yeah.
Like you start to like hyperventilate or
Yeah.
whatever. But if you could control your breath, you can control the outcome.
Yeah.
And so that changed my life.
Okay.
She
Are
has,
you,
does
drink,
have
are you
questions?
drinking? Are
No.
you drinking the thing?
No.
So you just drank it that one time?
You don't drink anything.
So it's
it's
not
the same. It's the same chemical releases that
Yeah.
you would if you were to drink ayahuasca.
Oh.
You can gain that from DMT breath work.
Oh. Okay, so you're gonna have
I'm
to.
gonna send you the
Yeah,
links.
because I want to.
No, it's amazing.
Wow.
And I became
That's
like,
great.
I'm not even bullshitting. I became happier.
Yeah,
I
I know.
beca-
I believe
I
this. So
felt
I believe. I
lighter.
believe that because
Yeah.
you're tapping in. That's what I mean. Like you
Yeah.
really. This is your
100%.
universe, right? This is it.
100%.
So you have to like feed it, and you have to like know what's going on. And it's crazy to go to your childhood because, like that's where our trauma
Yeah.
is. And I mean, trauma could continue and go on to your adult life, but you got to fix that.
You got to fix that.
Yeah. you
And
gotta
it's
fix
also
that
like the
back
role
there.
that like Spanish Harlem played for me.
Oh.
Like,
okay.
like Spanish Harlem for
Yeah.
me was like New York City for Carrie Bradshaw.
Oh,
You understand?
Of course.
Like I didn't want to
it's-
leave.
yes,
Like when I
yes.
moved to the Bronx, I cried because I was like, no, I just want to.
You are such a Spanish Harlem girl.
Yes,
No.
yes,
I like
yes.
literally, I did this, right? My first apartment was in the Bronx and I felt like such a traitor because, when you're from Spanish Harlem, it's the best place in the world.
Absolutely.
And even though my cousins are from the Bronx, like I would go to the Bronx, go to all the parties and I would fight with everybody. Like, y'all ain't
You was
messing with
just a
Spanish
little
Harlem.
fighter.
Yeah, and arguing and fighting, but shout out to the Bronx because it did a lot for me. I wrote a lot of great music there.
Yeah.
It's
No, I love the Bronx.
Yes,
No, yeah.
but I feel you. Like Spanish Harlem is like it's like a magnet. It's definitely I don't know. It's just so. Wait, where you from?
Look at you now. You interviewing
I
me.
mean, you could do this after the podcast. You can do this after, but
so
yeah.
I grew up in three different spots in
Okay.
Spanish Harlem.
Okay.
115 in First,
Oh,
112 in Second. I went to PS 102,
okay.
and then my last apartment was 109 in Madison, Lehman Village Projects.
Okay, first of all, I know all this, but 115 and First,
Yeah,
I used to hang out over
Yeah.
there.
There was a little hair salon. I lived right by the.
Yes.
Yeah. I would literally wash my hair in the crib and then go
Yeah.
to the salon and get it
Oh
bloomed
my
out. Yeah.
God. So we didn't run into each other. You don't.
I'm
remember
sure
me?
we did.
I'm like,
No,
come
I'm
on.
sure we did.
This
Yeah.
is like we're in the same stomping grounds. Like
Yeah.
this is. Oh,
I went
wow.
to Mercedes right there on 113.
Oh, that's fire. You
get the
see,
grilled
this,
yeah, no.
this is why we're doing this today. Like,
Absolutely.
Like, come. All right. I'm even more excited though. Like, I never met somebody from Spanish Harlem like that. I mean, other than, okay, my friend who's a makeup artist, he's also from Spanish Harlem and he's super dope. But, a lot of people are like, so is Spanish Harlem different from Harlem? Or so it's like
1000%.
people just don't get
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
it's like, I mean,
Like when you say
It's
you're from
just-
Harlem, they're like, are you from Spanish Harlem or from Harlem? Like that's like the thing.
it is different.
It's
It's the
different.
west side or you on the east side or
Right.
you're, like.
Because you don't see a Jefferson in
No,
in
Harlem. Yes, Jefferson is Spanish Harlem.
Exactly.
Wagner is in the middle.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Listen, anybody who sees this, I'm sorry we're going in right now, but we're
This is
having
a Harlem moment.
It is a Harlem moment. So shout out
Yes.
to Harlem.
Yes.
Shout out to Harlem, Spanish Harlem, all of it.
Yeah.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
You ready for my rapid fire?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
Let's do it. Hold on, Melissa, my best friend, she's been knowing me since I was 13 years old.
Spanish Harlem too?
No, she's Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So Brooklyn, I mean, you can't. I'm not even gonna say nothing because you can't say nothing. to
No, you
people
can't.
From Brooklyn.
No.
Brooklyn is the greatest place in the world. For real.
just leave it like that.
Brooklyn people will have your head. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me you're Latina without telling me you're Latina.
I can't go nowhere without my hoop earrings, big gold hoops. I need my jewelry.
Are
I
you
need
a
all that.
Goldie girly or
I'm a gold girl. I could do
never?
both.
You never tapped into your silver era?
No, yes,
Yeah.
yes, I have,
Okay.
and I still do. But ain't nothing like when you put the gold. It's like that's the Latina.
Look.
Yes.
Go.
I mean, look. No matter what,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
here, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your favorite Spanish food?
Oh, I'm gonna give it up now because it's not good. But it's pork chops. Ako ngandule
chuletas.
pork chops. Pork chops is it for me.
Do you cook?
know? Yes, I do cook. Yes, I
Yeah?
cook very well too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's important to yeah.
So Thanksgiving is always at your house, or do you host it, or you?
Oh yeah, I've hosted. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. I
okay.
mean, this year's different because I'm away from the family. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm definitely the house. Other than once my grandmother passed away, people come to my house.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What's one thing you need in the morning?
Oh, one thing I need. Oh, coffee. Coffee.
Yo.
Bustelo coffee. Right away. Right away.
Okay. If you had an opportunity to have the Last Supper with 3 Latinas, dead or alive,
Oh.
who would they be?
Oh my God, that's so hard. All right, a Latina, dead or alive? Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay. Alive. Rita Moreno.
Love her.
Right. Rosie Perez.
Yep.
Man, I can't think of somebody who's past that's Latina. I can't think of it. I really can't. I mean, I'm gonna go J-Lo. I'm gonna go Jennifer
Hello.
Lopez.
Yeah.
These are the queens.
Yeah.
These are the queens of it all. Yes.
Okay. What is this chapter of your life called?
Oh. Wasn't we thinking about that? Yo, Josian, where are you? What's this chapter of this? Remember, we was thinking about what chapter is this, right? You ain't got it? You drawing a blank?
Ooh.
It's the goddess era. Yes.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is something you would want to work on that you haven't already?
Oh, want to work on that I haven't already. Um, God. I mean, I just want to like release the businesses that I've been working on. You know, one is well, it's Love Fire by Lumi. You know, and also I have another one, but I will I'll hold on to that one.
So you're coming back to the show to
Yes,
announce it. Okay.
Because that one is like it's something you're gonna have to taste.
Ooh.
Yes, so that's like I'll hold on. You know, I'll keep
okay.
it with the Love Fire by Lumi because that goes with the whole goddess era. That's where we at right now with it.
Okay.
You know. Yes.
Describe Lumidee in one word.
Oh, light.
And why do you always hate your name?
Because when you're growing up, you know how stupid kids could be. Like yo, like I heard everything. Like they used to be like,
what would they call you?
Doomy,
Oh my
Doomy
God.
baby because Lumi, or it's like
Kids are
like
terrible.
just
Oh my God.
silly things, and then it was just like not common. It's weird because when you're young, right, you just want to be common. You just want to be like everybody else. Like why does my name got to be weird next to everybody else's? You know, so but obviously something you embrace later because you're like, all right, it's different, you know, but it wasn't welcomed well when I was growing up. Yeah.
All right. What does it mean to you to be Latina?
Oh, it's absolutely everything. You know, I feel like we're like the best part of it all.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, we could be completely strong. It's like we could like literally hold our families up, you know, and at the same time still be soft. Like, you know, we could be, it's just like, I don't know, the way I see Latin women is just strength. It's just so much strength. It's so much power. It's so much beauty. You know, I think Latinas sometimes just get known for one thing, like I hate to say it, but like being sexualized, you know, just being sexy or like leading with that. But we're like so much more than that. You know, it's just our resilience and how far we would go for things that we love. You know, so being Latina is that. Yeah.
Okay, last question. Finish this. Well, it's not a question. You got to finish this sentence.
Okay.
Growing up Latina is.
Oh. I can't mess this up.
No, you
Oh
can't.
my God.
No, you can't.
Oh. Man. Could we like pause then go back to this? Don't be like play the minutes like like, all right, growing up Latina, man. I mean, growing up Latina, for lack of a better word, it's just, I mean, it's everything for me. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
That's what I would say.
It's everything.
Yeah, it's everything.
It's just absolutely everything. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the
Thank
show.
you for having me. We did it.
We did it finally.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh gosh, this was so dope.